Hey everyone, we're about to jump into the incredible story of the internet. You know, it's this thing we use every single day. It's like the air we breathe. But for a lot of us, where it actually came from is, well, it's a bit of a blur. So let's clear that up.
All right, first things first. I want to start with the question that trips a lot of people up. We use the words internet and web all the time, right? But are they the same thing? Nope, not at all. And getting this difference down is going to be key to understanding the whole story.
So here's the main takeaway. The internet, that's the foundation. It's the physical stuff, this massive network of networks. The World Wide Web, on the other hand, is the system of information that runs on top of that infrastructure. It's kind of like the difference between the highways and all the cars, signs, and destinations that use those highways.
To make that even clearer, let's use an analogy. Think of the internet as a giant global library. It's the actual building, all the shelves, the lights, the physical wiring, all the hardware like servers, thousands of miles of cables, and routers that connect everything together.
Okay, so if the internet is the library itself, then the World Wide Web is how we actually find and read the books. It's the whole system of websites, articles, videos, and pictures that you pull up using a browser. It's the card catalog that lets us navigate those endless aisles.
So, now that we've got that straight, let's rewind. How did we even build this giant library to begin with? Well, it didn't start in some garage in Silicon Valley. It actually started as a military project. Our story really kicks off back in the 1960s with the U.S. Department of Defense project called ARPANET. Its goal was to let researchers share information across different locations. But the real game changer came in the 70s with something called TCP/IP. See, back then, different networks couldn't talk to each other. TCP/IP solved that. It created a universal language for computers. And in 1983, the whole network officially adopted this language, which is why a lot of folks call that the internet's birthday. Then, just 1 year later, another huge piece fell into place.
You see, these weren't just random inventions. They were the essential building blocks, laid down one after the other. It all started with a government network, which was then united by this universal communication language. That gave us the official birth of the system, and from there, it started to expand beyond just military use and into universities and research labs.
Now, let's talk about that 1984 step, because this was a huge leap for usability. Before then, to get to another computer, you had to type in a long string of numbers, an IP address. The Domain Name System, or DNS, was this brilliant idea that acted like a phone book for the internet. It translated those clunky numbers into easy-to-remember names. Honestly, this was a massive step toward making the internet something a regular person could actually use.
So by the mid-80s, the library was built. The infrastructure was there. But it was still a pretty exclusive club, mainly for academics and researchers. The next big chapter in our story is all about the invention that finally threw the library doors wide open for everyone.
Okay, so our timeline now jumps to the very end of the 80s and into the 90s. The internet's foundation is solid, but it's about to get a user-friendly facelift that will change absolutely everything.
And here is that pivotal moment. In 1989, a computer scientist named Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web. He is the one who created the whole system of browsers, web pages, and hyperlinks that gave us an intuitive way to just click around and explore the internet's resources.
Now, this first version of the web, what we now call Web 1.0, was really different from what we're used to today. You can pretty much think of it as a one-way street. Information flowed from a website's creator to you, the user, but there wasn't much traffic going back the other way.
This quote just nails the feeling of that era. The pages were static, kind of like digital brochures. Interaction was almost non-existent. You were basically a digital reader, just taking in information without any easy way to comment on it, create your own, or share it.
But of course, that was all about to change. The next big evolution wasn't just about making things faster. It was a fundamental shift in our role, from being passive consumers to becoming active creators.
So our timeline moves into the new millennium, and this is where things just explode. The 2000s brought us the speed of broadband and the rise of Web 2.0, while the 2010s cut the cord completely, putting the internet in our pockets and connecting everything in our homes.
And this is where that one-way street finally became a two-way conversation. Web 2.0 was all about dynamic, user-generated content. All of a sudden, the internet wasn't just a place to read things. It was a place to write, to share, to create, and to connect with other people.
This interactive boom was really powered by a few key things happening at once. High-speed broadband finally made streaming video and other rich media possible.
That, in turn, gave rise to social media, blogs, and all these online communities. And then, of course, smartphones made the internet a constant part of our lives, and the Internet of Things started connecting everything from our watches to our refrigerators.
And that brings us right up to today. The Internet's evolution is, well, it's far from over. We are now entering an era that's going to be defined by intelligence and an even deeper, more seamless level of connection.
The journey is continuing right now as we speak, here in the 2020s. We're living through another one of those fundamental shifts, where the network itself is becoming not just faster, but genuinely smarter.
So on one hand, you have things like 5G giving us these incredibly fast, super reliable connections that are going to power things like smart cities and self-driving cars. But on the other hand, you have the rise of Web 3.0, sometimes called the semantic web. This is where AI starts to allow computers to understand the meaning and context behind information, not just the keywords. And that leads to way smarter digital assistants and much more personalized experiences online.
And the end result of this entire 50-year journey is summed up perfectly right here. The Internet is no longer a tool we go to or a place we visit. It has become a utility that is completely and totally woven into the fabric of our daily lives.
But of course, being this deeply integrated comes with its own set of challenges. With our lives so tangled up in the network, we're facing bigger cybersecurity threats, really serious questions about data privacy, and a constant need to figure out how to be decent, respectful human beings to each other online.
And that really leaves us with a final, massive question to think about. As we build a network that can think and learn on its own, powered by AI, the great challenge of our time is going to be making sure that it serves and reflects the very best of our humanity. Thanks for joining me on this one.